Today on the Topic Show, Taylor Swift endorses Kamala Harris, as well as Tim Walz, Babylon Bee, Megyn Kelly, and Trump react. The USPS gives warnings about issues about performance and deliveries that may impact the upcoming election. Trump proven true on the debate, claiming that Kamala wants to fund transitions for illegals. Hennessey Venom F5-M, the world's most powerful vehicle with a manual transmission. Amazon launches their grocery savers program. Campbell Soup changes their name after 155 years. And BMW has a recall of about 1.5 million vehicles. All of that and much more on The Topping Show. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of The Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. I say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, you see, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business part of the podcast, you have some beautiful news. The new Hennessey Venom F5-M is the world's most powerful manual transmission vehicle. Unfortunately, it's a little bit outside the budgets as well as the number of units available. So, in the lottery, the statistics are quite low winning the lottery, so unfortunately I will not be getting one myself anytime soon. Now, this comes to us thanks to Ian Sawyer, who's a writer over at Engine Petrol, when she says, quote, the 1,817 horsepower Hennessey Venom F5-M is the world's most powerful manual transmission car. Now here's the sad part. All of 12 units of $2.65 million 6-speed Venom roasters have been built and sold. So, well, we'll see how much they go for if someone tries to flip that in auction and maybe double their profit. I don't know. And, of course, it looks beautiful. I mean, it's almost indescribable. I'm so flabbergasted right now. It's one of those things where it's a cliche for years. All my friends who they've acquiesced to go to, well, more of acquaintances than friends, really. But many of them have acquiesced to say, oh, yeah, automatics are great. The EVs are the future. And, you can't beat a dual clutch transmission with Banana Falcon technologies and double live, all that kind of widgets and knickknacks. Which, sure, in a straight line, but life is much more fun going in the corners and downshifting. If you have that experience at a track, cannot recommend it enough. You'll be smiling ear to ear. Shoot, even just driving for work, I can't help but smile when I'm driving my little Civic Si. But I partially digress. Now, they say, I just can't. Again, I keep going back to the horsepower number, 1,817. Now they say, quote, the world's most powerful manual transmission production car is built with the Venom F5 Roadster, but replaces its 7-speed automated manual with a true 6-speed manual featuring a billet aluminum shift gate. And here you can see, I don't know why they don't make the pictures bigger on this website, a little bit of a downside there. It is, I mean, I haven't had the privilege myself of driving something with a gated shifter. All my stick shift cars, which all my cars have been stick shifts, have not had that. It's reminiscent of the good old Ferraris. I mean, when I was a kid, the 360 was in a lot of video games, and that one is beautiful. I mean, Ferrari, especially Lamborghini, they had those nice gated shifters, and you really don't see that anymore. And to see, this is just beautiful. And oddly reminiscent, perhaps some might say blasphemous, almost reminds me of the Porsche Carrera GT. Just a weird, again, it's not as angular in terms of the placement of the shift knob being, so close to the steering wheel, but from a certain angle, it almost looks like, because again, it's a little bit more close to the steering wheel, a little bit elevated and oddly reminiscent, I think, to the Porsche. Now, they say, quote, it's paired with the same 6.6-liter twin-turbo V8, delivering all this horsepower and 1,193 foot-pounds of torque, which is fantastic. And they say, quote, it might sound crazy, but it's exactly what makes it brilliant in our eyes. They say Hennessey hasn't released the performance stats, but it's clear that the $2.65 million F5-M won't match its pedal shift sibling in a drag race, which, yeah, no one cares. Again, when it comes to drag races, again, the EV is going to win a straight line because it's a computer on wheels. Woohoo. If you really want to have fun on the track, that's where you want to stick shift. We actually be a part of the vehicle experience. Now, they say, quote, while transmission swap is the headline, it's not the only feature that sets the F5-M apart from a standard F5 Roadster. The 3-pedal version, as all cars should be by default, also adds a massive 55-inch dorsal fin extended from the back seats, where the roof-mounted air roof scoop sits as well, which Yeah, these pictures are minuscule, to say the least. I guess yeah, it's. I think it's pretty unusual. They say they also have a yoke-style steering wheel full of buttons, but without a top section to obstruct the view of the rectangular digital gauge, remaining a signature feature. Now, this goes from Nathan Malnick, who's Hennessey Director of Design, saying, quote, "We're extreme, we're authentic, and uniquely American. These qualities are reflected in the design and performance of the F5M. The car is made for bold, adventurous drivers who want their hypercars to deliver power, striking design, and unparalleled driving experience." It's not just the Pagani's of the world anymore. Hennessey has really raised the bar for the supercar, the stick shift. I'm glad to see more and more of them are waking up, because again, it's a rare, fun experience. If you want a supercar, that's a great way to differentiate yourself, with perhaps the most iconic one being good old McLaren F1 with Gordon Mary's brilliant design of engineering. I think it's going to be hard to beat that ever. But a little bit of good news in the automotive community. And yeah, those owners can't. The only sad part is, I wonder how many of those owners are just going to buy it and throw it in a garage and have it be a garage queen and put less than 1 mile on it a year. Where I can understand maybe having one at the museum for historical preservation if you're like the owner of the company, like Hennessey. But, and yeah, these things are meant to be driven on the track. So I really hope every one of these cars gets driven as much as possible. It gets put on name miles on there. And they just have so many happy shifts. Now, let me know if you won the lottery, if you were going to get a supercar yourself, would you want one that has the 3 pedals, also known as a stick shift? Or would you want something like an EV, multi-million-dollar supercar? Or the standard, most supercars or most high-end performance cars, like Lamborghini and Ferrari, have got too, the dual clutch, automated transmissions. Let me know in the comments, because as always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Other interesting business news, you have Amazon launching their Amazon Saver groceries, which is going to be an excellent idea for them to further bolster their revenue and a little bit of profits, but mostly in the aggregate, as again, groceries are terrible for businesses. One of the biggest lies we hear in modern media, especially today, is politicians saying, yeah, these grocery stores are so greedy, they're making so much money. No, not really. If you just look up, and most of these companies are publicly traded, so anyone can look it up if they take just a little bit of effort. The average industry average for groceries, profit margin wise, is 2%. Now contrast that or juxtapose that with something like Apple, like a 50% stock. Not the food, which is delicious, but the product, which is fancy, I guess. But yeah, groceries are usually terrible. Albertsons, one of the largest groceries, where they also own many brands in addition to the Albertsons label stores. I believe last fiscal quarter they came in at 1.6% profit margin. Also known as deadly scary, because again, that's not a lot of room for error. Now, again, just like the McDonald's methodology, they make a lot of the money through the increase in the aggregate. So again, you might make 1%, but if you're doing everything right and you don't have any curveballs, or in this case, perhaps a better metaphor would be rotten apples, well, then you can make a fair amount of living. Now, Amazon, they did buy at Whole Foods, which usually costs your whole wallet. Ba-dum-bum. Trying to think last decade I shopped there. But again, that is groceries, and they're going to make a little more money because that's a more higher end boutique grocery store. So probably a little bit better than the industry average for them. But that's not going to really dramatically ramp up the already impressive revenue that is Amazon. So they're thinking, what can we do differently? Now, this makes perfect sense. Every big grocery store, I mean, probably the most famous ones being, you have Walmart, you have their value brand, which is called, appropriately named, Great Value. Pretty simple but effective. Now, Walmart, theirs is going to be called Amazon Saver, which, interesting. This comes with thanks to CNN Business, which is, interesting enough, still in business. I think I might account for 3% of their total network traffic these days, give or take just a little bit. Specifically, this is credited to Jordan Velinsky, who's a writer over there. They say, quote, Amazon targets Aldi and Target with new lineup of no-frills groceries. There you can see, looks like Amazon has a couple things. They got pancake syrup, most likely high fructose corn syrup in a bottle. They also have original coffee creamer, graham crackers, garlic powder, sweet peas, and turkey breast. Interesting assortment of things they started making, considering I guess the only thing I would buy personally would be the turkey. I don't know who else is buying other stuff. I would thought coffee grounds would be better than creamer, but I personally digress. In terms of the design, it's mostly a red label background, which is usually most predominantly used in fast food, which is why pretty much every one of those logos has some red red, not yellow. And yeah, they're all red in their backgrounds. When Amazon's colors are usually, you have the brown box, you have the yellow. It have a little bit of curveball there. I mean, in terms of retail, you usually think of Target when it comes to red logos or red backgrounds. and it has a signature Amazon logo, and then just has the word Savor attached onto it. I'm a little surprised they didn't try to make it a little more specific to food, but maybe they'll switch it up and then maybe they'll switch it later. But yeah, I was surprised actually. Yeah, why did they just Amazon Savor? Which, yeah, I guess does apply to darn near everything. Now they say, quote, Amazon is rolling its new no frills private label brand called Amazon Savor, with most items priced to be less than $5, and that includes an array of household staples and pantry items such as, again, I don't want to say CNN lies, but BS. They say this includes several staples such as cookies and crackers, which those are staples. No one in the world needs to eat those. That's 110% luxury item. That should be a treat you buy like maybe once a year, maybe twice if you have kids. But yeah, you need these staples like cookies. Rubbish, as the British might say. Now they say it'll also include perishable items like sliced turkey and ham. More than 100 digital items will be revealed in the coming months. The company has several private label food brands, including Amazon Fresh, 365, and Happy Belly, but Savor is the company's lowest price brand, which, quote, complements the company's selection of private label brands designed to provide the best value for a range of grocery products. Amazon is taking aim at its rivals, including Walmart, Target, and Aldi, all which have cheaply priced private label brands that are popular with its customers as retailers look to retain shoppers despite stubbornly high grocery prices. Now they say, quote, Amazon still has a big ambitions in groceries, so it needs to jump into the bandwagon as well as sharpen its value menu for folks, says Neil Sanders, who's a retail analyst and managing director at Global Data Retail. He continues saying, quote, Savor products will help the business to accomplish this and is providing stronger opening price points. Let's see. I say, I'm trying to look at the specific discounts. Now this is, again, according to, looks like Prime members will get 10% discount for the, I don't know how many people have Prime by now. It seems like darn near everyone except me. Now, this is really interesting. They say, quote, Prime members will get a 10% discount, but now they can get up to 50% off 8 to 15 grocery items that change weekly, including fresh produce and meats, and more than 1,200 rotating grocery items from popular brands that will be discounted 25%. Prime members will also get an additional 10% off the new lineup of Savor products, which 25%. I mean, granted, Amazon has such massive amounts of revenue and profit. They can have a loss leader for a while. But I mean, some of those items don't even have 25% built-in margins, so they're definitely gonna be losing money on this program for a little bit. Here, that's pretty interesting. And I mean, now's the time to strike. The iron is hot when it comes to these types of value brands, where people are looking to how they might be able to tell a little more from their budget, get a little more value, pun moderately intended. And it looks like Amazon wants to get further lean into the mass volume of grocery business, which again would increase their portfolio and they'd be doing pretty better. I mean, it's like damn near everyone has Amazon these days on their phone or their computer. It'll be interesting, and more and more people are starting to shop online. So might be a good avenue for Amazon. We'll see. Interesting to see at the end of the day what's the actual profit margins on this initiative that they're rolling out. But yeah, definitely seems like a great way for them to add more value to the current clientele. And yeah, let me know. Do you think more and more Americans are starting to move to the process of ordering from home? Is this something you would appreciate? And do you think this will be successful for the company? Let me know in the comments because, as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting business news, you have Campbell Soup changing their name after 155 years. Now, this comes to us thanks to Fox Business, which, again, is somehow in business. I think they have 12 employees left. Oh, partially kidding. Specifically, it's from Allison Murphy over there. And quote, Campbell Soup to make historic name change. Campbell said the name change is part of its evaluation and transformed portfolio, which, yeah, spoiler alert, they sell a lot more things than the traditional old design of the Campbell's Soup can, which so famous they even had Andy Warhol make a painting of it that people went wild for reasons. Now, they say, quote, the Campbell Soup Company is looking to make a historic change to its iconic brand name. The company tends to take its name from the Campbell's Cup. Take on the name. This is very, very inspirational, folks. Instead of the Campbell Soup Company, it's going to be called the Campbell's Company. The most hilarious part to me is that they probably spent a couple $1,000,000 in marketing researching funds just to see if that'd be effective. Which, yeah, look into the research behind logo and name changes. It's astronomically kind of hilarious how much they spend on that. I understand from a certain perspective, some logos are very, very important, But yeah, in this case, it's kind of more like on paper, I think. Now, they say, quote, the subtle yet important change retains the company's iconic name recognition, reputation, and equity built over 155 years, while better reflecting its full breadth of company's portfolio. This according to Mark Klaus, the CEO, in a statement. And they say, quote, Campbell announced the name change, which requires shareholder approval, and is held its investor day and provided its updates growth strategy, which, yeah, I can't help but think how many investors, there might be 18 investors who really care and push against this. Let me know if you care. I'm pretty sure they care more about, increase, again, none of this is financial advice, but probably want to know how to get the stock price up, maybe reduce costs, increase efficiencies. What's the dividends going to look like if you do offer dividends? Really trading for it, granted, by the time this video is rendered and uploaded. No financial advice. Stock market does, the stock market does. Currently trading for $51.74 per share. Now, they also say, quote, the company said it aimed to, quote, drive growth through 16 leadership brands across its snack and meals and beverages segments of the company. Goldfish, Snyder's of Hanover, Pepperidge Farm, Campbell's, Rayo's, Prego, and V8 are among the leadership brands. They collectively account for 95% of Campbell's segment operating margins in fiscal 2024. I also say its meals and beverage division has a new growth trajectory for dependable and profitable growth. It also recently completed its $2.7 billion purchase of Savos, which owns Rayo's and other brands earlier this year. Now it says, long term, the company is targeting 2 to 3% increase in organic net sales. That includes a snack division growing 3 to 4%, and the meals and beverage segment growing 1 to 2%. Which, yeah, sounds like, it definitely doesn't sound too overly ambitious. It's like they're trying to overpromise things to the shareholders. And yeah, it's fascinating to see, how many labels these companies really own at the end of the day, or in this case, specific brands people know and love. I don't know, although I don't think I bought V8 since I was in high school, but still, usually going back to the other segment of the show, talking about Amazon launching their saving program. When it comes to vegetable juice, I usually just get the Walmart Great Value one. Fraction of the cost and tastes about the same when you throw it in a blender. So it'll be interesting to see if the shareholders actually approve this, or how many of them really care about that specific name change. It kind of reminds me of, oddly reminiscent to Apple. Way back in the day when Apple first incorporated the company, it was the Apple Computing Company, or the Apple Computer Company, which, again, that made sense. Their very first product was the Apple One, which easily those are over $1 million in value right now. If you can find one, it becomes such a valuable collectible item. But for most of the years, they were a computer company. That's all they made was computers. That's all they started to make printers. They made their own monitors. But nowadays, when you look at Apple, what are they really known for? Smartphones. They're known for making smartphones, and every year they get a little bit thinner, the cameras get a little bit nicer, and they're going to throw in a little bit of AI to make people and the shareholders happy. Which, yeah, that probably will make them, it'll probably glow with happiness because of the extra features this year. But when it comes to Apple, they also changed their name to Apple. Legally speaking, it used to be the Apple, computer company. So it makes sense this company becomes more diverse, and that's partially why I don't think most shareholders are going to care, especially because, again, they're not changing the label on the brand when you go to the store. This company's the legal entity name. So that's why I don't suspect personally to see much pushback from the shareholders. I kind of suspect that as long as they're focusing on growing the business and, maintaining the quality, or if not making it better, I can't but think they'll probably just sign off on it. But let me know in the comments, because as always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the culture part of the podcast, you have Taylor Swift, also known as T Swift, thanks to the Urban Dictionary. Well, she has endorsed Kamala Harris and Tim Walz while holding a cat. Because, of course. Now, this might be the biggest blow to all 18 Swifties who like Trump. I'm only partially kidding. I would love to see the statistical data on, what is the average voter demographic of Taylor Swift. And she is one of the most followed, influential people when it comes to country music. And she is very big on the Instagram. But let's read her nice. She did, I'm not sure if she's paid per word, but this is almost like a book. So she's very, I was about to say articulate, very detailed on her statement. And yeah, I'll, spoiler alert, here's her holding the cat. And she says, quote, actually, I don't know what kind of accent she has. Nevertheless, she says, quote, like many of you, I watched the debate tonight. If you haven't already, now is a great time to do your research on the issues at hand and the stances the candidates take on topics that matter to you the most. As a voter, I make sure to watch and read everything I can about their proposed policies and plans to the country. Unquote. Started off strong. That's pretty articulate. Most Americans would agree with her. Not very controversial. She were to stop right there, there'd be literally no effect on her sales of her merchandise or CDs, whatever she sells these days, and music would be pretty uncontroversial. And, everyone would tune in and buy her 8 tracks, whatever she sells these days, and all learn about all her stories of just a lineup of men being bad boyfriends for her. I'm sure she'll find a good guy soon. That's funny because for decades, no, she has not. And statistically speaking, I don't know what Las Vegas odds are on, but no, I don't think she'll ever find someone compatible. But that's just me. Now she continues saying, "quote Recently, I was made aware that AI of me falsely endorsing Donald Trump's presidential run was posted on his site. It was really conjured some fears of mine around AI and dangers of spreading misinformation. It brought me to the conclusion that I need to be very transparent about my actual plans for this election as a voter. The simplest way to combat misinformation is the truth. I will be casting my vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz in the 2024 presidential election. I'm voting for Kamala Harris because she fights for the rights and causes I believe need a warrior to champion them." I don't know what she's done for the past 3 years, but I partially digress. I'll go back to the quote. Quote, "I think she's a steady-handed," as I say, headed, think about her earlier career, but nevertheless, "I think she's a steady-handed, gifted leader, and I believe we can accomplish so much more in this country if you're led by calm and not chaos." I was so heartened and impressed by her selection of running mate Tim Walz, who has been standing up for LGBTQ plus rights, IVF, and women's right to her own body for decades, unquote. Taylor Swift forgot the IA. She'll be canceled today, mark my words. Kidding. Her fans will love her no matter what, mostly. Now, continue her quote. It's almost done, I promise. Quote, "I've done my research and I've made my choice. Your research is all yours to do. The choice is yours to make. I also want to say, especially for first-time voters, remember that in order to vote, you must be registered. I also find it's much easier to vote early. I'll link to where to register and find early voting dates and info in my story. With love and hope, Taylor Swift, childless cat lady." Indeed, she is. Although I'm sure she'll find husbands. I mean, no, she won't. Again, what is the Las Vegas odds for her to actually find a husband that will fulfill? She'll always be happy. I don't want to say it's 0, but it's approximately 0.0000000001379%, approximately. And yeah. Wasn't Tim Walz busted for lying about IVF? And again, one of the biggest controversial things, especially when it comes to the abortion debate, when it comes to Tim Walz, Minnesota allows it all the way up to birth. Which, again, if you poll most Americans are not happy with that methodology. If you look at the average of what Americans think where you should or should not be allowed to do an abortion, big point of contention or really kind of unification is usually around like 16 to 24 weeks. That's when most people say after that point they don't feel it should be. Again, that's just over the average. Also, this is a state rights issue, yet they keep campaigning on it and saying it's going to be the biggest issue for this election. And I'm not saying people are not going to vote for Kamala because of that argument, but obviously it's not really founded in reality because, again, it's back to the states' rights. So if you want to have abortion all the way up to day of birth, they have it. It's called Minnesota. If you're more conservatively minded, you don't want to have abortion at all. There are places like Missouri and other states where it's very, very more so restricted with, again, the usual biggest caveats or exceptions are in the exceptions for rape, incest, as well as health of the mother. No overwhelming majority of the time when there is limits on abortion, those are usually the traditional carve-outs or caveats to those situations. And yet, again, it's a states' rights issue. If you want to change, go to Hobby Lobby, get some nice cardstock or poster board, and let your opinion peacefully known, brother, what do you want to do? And they keep mentioning it, because again, it'll get people out to vote, but it's just, so ridiculous. They keep saying, this is really important for this election. Again, if it's really important, vote on state level. But again, I know a lot of people aren't doing a lot of research. I think they should. And now here's some of the top responses. One of the first ones comes from Megyn Kelly, which, see here, this comes from Eddie. It says, quote, "Megyn Kelly on Taylor Walz endorsement. She's disgusting. F you, Taylor Swift." And it's about minute 29, though Megyn Kelly's voice is infinitely better than mine, so without too much further ado.
Taylor Swift just endorsed Kamala Harris. Taylor Swift, yeah. She posts a picture of herself with her cat. Would you look at this? You can, of course. Like, you can kiss your sales to the Republican audience goodbye, Taylor. Hope you enjoyed them while you had them.
I mean, if that's a male cat, that might be the only male that never leaves her. So maybe that's why she's hugging it really tight. I'm only partially speculating. Only kidding. Maybe just a little kidding. Maybe not.
I was so heartened and impressed by her selection of her running mate, Tim Walz, who has been standing up for LGBTQ rights, IVF, and a woman's right to her own body for decades. Oh my God. So this woman is fine with his plan to take custody of the children from parents who don't want them to chop off their body parts and put them in Minnesota court's custody so the body parts can be chopped off and they can be sterilized outside the custody of their parents. That's what led Taylor Swift to endorse him. Some lunatic dropped a note in my personal mailbox outside my house begging me not to boycott Taylor Swift, as though I have that power. I'm allowed to criticize Taylor Swift, and I don't give a shit who gets upset. This is disgusting. If she wants to vote Harris Walz, she can do it all she wants. But to say the reason she's doing it is because of Tim Walz's stance on LGBTQ, F you, Taylor Swift. And F all of the people who want to see these children have body parts chopped off and watch them sterilized under the age of consent, and then will ride off to their multi-gazillion-dollar mansions, never to think of them again.
Well, quite the antithesis. The doctors actually get a lifetime customer because of all the upkeep you have to do in the situation. So, right, fiscally beneficial for them in that regard. And Megyn Kelly bringing the heat, so they gave 1.5 million views as well, and some pushback here, or a little support, a little pushback. One of the first comments comes from Steven saying Kelly has a point, getting 182 likes. He's saying yep, getting 45 likes. Jeannie Robinson says, quote, Taylor Swift is a dumb, satanic, nice way of saying this, woman of the night. The world is maddeningly evil, getting 270 likes, which is also really strange. I've never heard someone say they're going to vote for someone because of the vice president. That's why I really debate. Is it just because Walz is more favorable than Kamala in recent polling or recent studies, or more appealing to the average voter? Maybe that's why she's doing that. But I don't know. Does Taylor Swift live in Minnesota or something? To me, that's even more bizarre. Candace says Taylor should bring her cat to Springfield, getting 146 likes. Let's see here. Luke Ryan says Megyn Kelly cosplaying as Melania, just her picture of her and Trump, getting 68 likes. Randy Belenvindez says then Taylor Swift turns off the comments, getting 58 likes, which, yeah, I'm sure she did. Yankees Girl 1776 says, quote, and think of how many of those under the age children are Swiftie fans. Sends a horrific message to them about body mutilation is okay, getting 108 likes. Going back. PR 549 says Taylor Swift ticket $500, new outfit $500, iPhone 15 $1,500, can't pay student loans back, priceless. Getting 78 likes, which who the hell spends $500 on an outfit is beyond me. Like, my suit was well under that, and this thing has lasted more than almost a decade by now. I get my use out of this suit. A says Taylor Swift's new album cover just dropped, catastrophic. I heard it's perfect. I get A+ for puns. There's an AI generated image of Taylor Swift holding a cat running away from some migrants, getting 28 likes. Lexian says any woman listening to Taylor Swift, bad news, getting 78 likes. Jan says a fake singer-songwriter for a fake candidate. Is anyone surprised, and who gives a crap about what Taylor Swift thinks? She has more money than God, and she can care less about the struggles of her fans or families, getting 32 likes. Which, yeah, it's never lost on me that it's hilarious how Taylor Swift has just made a whole career off of having a bored taste and making bad choices in her dating life. Like, that is every one of her songs. Don't get me wrong, still ridiculously successful. One of the first billionaires out there when it comes to the music industry. But yeah, a couple of people doing a lot of AI generated parodies of Taylor Swift. So a lot of pushback, and it'll be interesting to see. I mean, realistically, does her album sales really drop? Well, not drop in terms of release date, but they drop in sales. So she actually start to lose any monetary value because of her stance in politics. The people who, I guess that's a good question. Does the average person separate the creator or the artist from their personal lives or political opinions? That's kind of the debate. That debate has been had in the art community for decades or more. Let me know in the comments. Do you think she'll lose a single fan because of this, or she'll even lose $1 more because of this? Let me know in the comments, because as always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Other interesting cultural news: the Babylon Bee goes viral with their Taylor Swift post on the good old X Twitter. Now this comes to us, of course, thanks to the Babylon Bee. And there's a picture of Taylor Swift holding a microphone. And it says, quote, "Woman who made a career singing about her bad choices endorses Kamala." That got 1.1 million views and 56,000 likes. With one of the first ones coming from Craig Chamberlain saying, quote, "What does this say about the people who vote for Kamala based on her endorsement?" Getting 135 likes. American Papa Bear says, quote, "Truer words have never been spoken," getting 29 likes. Chuck Costello says, quote, "No lies detected," getting 224 likes. Jonathan Edwards says, "Personally, I get all my political advice from young pop singers. They're obviously the most closely in tune with farmers and the Constitution," getting 54 likes. Is any contrarian comments here? Hakis from the Underground has, here we call it the Hank Hill parody, where him and Bobby are sitting in his good old Ford truck. And, well, so it's got Hank, and then instead of Bobby, it's Taylor Swift. It might be the worst impression you hear all year, but I'll try a Hank Hill. I'll try a Hank Hill accent here. "You know what's not cool, Taylor? Simping for the administration that's killing the country that made you. Propane and propane scissor. Propane." Nah, yeah, I can't. But that did get 157 likes. Not me, but the little meme there. Scrolling down more and more. Let's see here. Florida Dan says, "So after they lose, will Taylor Swift write a song about their abusive relationship?" Getting 8 likes. Let's see here. Ryan B simply says, "No lies detected." A little gif or a little meme there. Nate says, "However, she is an expert in using those bad choices to make money, hence her endorsing Kamala," getting 10 likes. Welch Zeely says, "If Bud Light was a singer," getting 5 likes as well. Let's see. Anti-contrarian statements here. Monkey Do says, "This should not be a B headline, guys," getting 3 likes. See why not? Not too many contrarian statements. Comedy becoming a reality more and more. Kelly said, someone said, Kelly said not the B, getting 8 likes, but yeah, let's say, yeah, it's definitely the Babylon B. But yeah, probably one of the most, it's hilarious, but she's a billion-dollar singer. That's one of the most influential cultural figures in the United States and shoot, even world globally. But again, do you think that'll actually translate to winning or losing winning or losing ticket sales or album sales? Or do you think the people who support Taylor Swift just don't care at all? Let me know in the comments, because as always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Going over to the political part podcast, you have Trump reacting to Taylor Swift endorsing Kamala, or as some of her fans call her, T-Swift. So I'm still astonished. I couldn't believe this. If you go to the grocery store, or you go to the cleaning section, I saw the Swiffer, and it's not an official Taylor Swift product. Like, I don't suppose she knows how to clean, but I always was under the suspicion that T-Swift fans were really enthusiastic about cleaning their houses and, being, proper. But yeah, apparently there's no relation from Taylor Swift with the Swiffer company for all those cleaning products. I was a little disappointed there. I thought it'd be a perfect brand endorsement. Apparently they're not the same legal entity. Who would have thought? But this comes to us thanks to Philip Lewis on the good old X Twitter, which he says, quote, "Trump reacts to Taylor Swift endorsing Kamala Harris." About a minute 7 seconds, but Trump's voice is infinitely better than mine. Not too much further ado.
Just to finish up on that point, then.
By the way, Lawrence is doing a very good job, I have to say. He really is.
He's doing a great. Hey, I've got a quick question for you. Out of nowhere, after the debate last night, Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala Harris. What do you think?
Well, I actually like Mrs. I actually like Mrs. Mahomes much better, if you want to know the truth. She's a big Trump fan. I was not a Taylor Swift fan. It was just a question of time. She couldn't. You couldn't possibly endorse Biden. You look at Biden, you couldn't possibly endorse him. But she's a very liberal person. She seems to always endorse a Democrat, and she'll probably pay a price for it at the in the marketplace. But no, I like Brittany. I think Brittany's great. Brittany got a lot of news last week. She's a big MAGA fan. That's the one I like much better than Taylor Swift.
Right. Brittany is
Mahomes.
Yeah, they're Mahomes. They're great friends.
The wife of the great quarterback, and he is a great quarterback.
My favorite team from Kansas
And
City.
I think she's terrific.
I don't even know who that is. Huh. But the Digo Viral got 2.9 million views as well as 15,000 likes. Well, the first comment is coming from Machine Pun Kelly. I appreciate that name. So this person is a cartoon as a face. And then they have the Ukrainian flag. So it means they're probably from San Francisco. Haha. I was going to say, not a pun. Well, of course, looking at his profile, yes, Harris Walz is a profile background picture. Oh, he's actually from Texas? Really? Oh, might be from Austin. But nevertheless, he says, quote, did you just try to equate Brittany Mahomes to Taylor Swift? Unquote, getting 2.7 thousand likes. See here. Jamie says, narrator, she would in fact not pay a price for it in the marketplace, getting 4.6 thousand likes. Tony Bro says, pissing off fans of the most popular American woman, a white woman, is a different kind of stupid, getting 2,000 likes. AC Tantrum says, everyone that doesn't support him always has a, quote, pay price, fake ass strongman, getting 2.9 thousand likes. Again, do you even think it'll be 1% net sales lost for endorsing Kamala? I can't think on average her fans are probably more left-leaning on average. Yeah, that's why I'm pretty skeptical. I don't know if she actually will really fiscally pay a price, or even if you can count her brand reputation being damaged. Because again, I mean, Taylor Swift endorsed Biden in 2020. There's still the same kind of uproar last time, but I mean, she became a billionaire from that point to now. So that's why I'm pretty skeptical in terms of, will she actually lose fans over this? Maybe a small handful, but I don't think it's enough to have any. I don't suspect it's really enough to have a sustaining impact on her career, or even her album sales, or her sock sales, or again, I'm not sure why she doesn't actually sell Swiffers. Just slap her face on it, and Swifties would buy that like that. I mean, presumably they have to clean sometime. The Beethoven Group says, quote, yeah, the price she will pay is another platinum album and a world tour, getting 722 likes. See, scrolling down more and more. Angela Reed says, I think Trump lost a bit more, like the election, getting 260 likes. See here. It's mostly in ratio. I'm trying to see if there's any contrarian statements here. Oh, a couple people are just doing pictures juxtapositioning the two gals' media profiles. Looks like Brittany Lane has 2.1 million followers on, was it Threads or Instagram? And Taylor Swift has 283 million followers. She only has 668 posts. She doesn't follow anyone either. Well, narcissistic. She doesn't even follow one person. Interesting. Now that juxtaposition picture's got 877 likes. Here. Way, interesting name, says, uh-oh, don't get the left Swifties started. They'll try to challenge y'all for a cult of the year. Getting 28 likes. She has unparalleled brand awareness. And, I mean, you talk to the people who follow Taylor Swift, like, they'll pretty much give their whole life to Live Nation for those tickets. To just follow her anywhere. Like, that type of fan loyalty is darn near unparalleled. When I try to think of, like, people who go bonkers for musicians, people will spend the last bottom dollar just to see someone play. I mean, it's pretty impressive. Let's see. Let's see. Ann Still Rise says, no, she won't, getting 19 likes. Let's see. Here's the sample size. Philip Lewis, who posted this originally, he says who is he? Detroit native. Yeah, it looks like, as you might say, got ratioed pretty hard. Well, not the person who posted it, but pretty much everyone is of the same sentiment. Again, the small sample size of the quotes that we read, in terms of really Taylor Swift probably not losing any market share from that. But let me know in the comments again. Do you think she'll lose even so much as one single fan over this? Let me know, because as always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have the USPS warns of quote-unquote performance issues that may disrupt the upcoming election. This comes with thanks to disclose.tv, in which he says, quote, Justin, the U.S. election officials warn that the widespread, quote, performance issues with the USPS in nearly every state will disrupt mail-in voting. Which, who would have thunk it? Now, this actually goes to an article from their website, in which they say, quote, election officials from across the U.S. are warning that issues with mail delivery systems could disenfranchise voters in the upcoming presidential election. A letter to the U.S. Postmaster General Louis DeJoy from two groups that represent top election administrators in all 50 states. They quote, we have not seen improvement or concerted efforts to remediate or our concerns, highlighting that ballots mailed on time are often received late or returned as undeliverable. This could result in voters being placed in inactive status. The two groups, the National Association of Secretaries of State and National Association of Secretaries of Election Directors, have reached out to USPS multiple times without resolution, calling the problems, quote, not one-off mistakes. They emphasize the urgent need for corrective action, stating, quote, failure to do so will risk limiting voter participation and trust in the election process. Concerns were raised about inconsistencies in how election mail is handled, with officials stressing the need for USPS to be a reliable partner in electoral process. Which, again, that's another thing that's disintegrated a lot of faith in the whole election process in the United States. It's the only country that has this issue, seemingly, where it takes some states, it would take Arizona like 7 days, or what was it? It took a state 7 days to certify the results, or to get all the votes counted, because the mail delivery was so slow and wholesomely inept. And yeah, I can't but think, it's been talked about before, but a very easy way to just fix this and make, I think it would make a majority of people happy. Of all the BS holidays we have in the United States, and I'm not a fan of having any more days off. I think people don't work enough as it is on average. But let's just have an election day. Everyone gets a day off. You go, you cast your ballot, and your votes counts that day. That would alleviate so much hesitation and so much lack of confidence that most people have. And again, I'm not saying there's not some instances where it can be secure with mail-in voting. I'm a little bit more skeptical than not, especially when I have all those videos that, 4 in the morning, the window's being covered up or the pipe mysteriously bursting. So, no one was in the room to be able to count those votes except the, one person in the room, or, and the votes just magically spiked. And they really just, in terms of the odds of the 2020 election and how it panned out, pretty much the juxtaposition of all the projections, all the odds, when you look at the counties and, how the votes just magically came in. But I partially digress. You also have the Democrats, it's being a political issue in the United States, where Democrats are very much pushing, mail-in voting, and Republicans are very much pushing, showing up and, casting a ballot, which would also lead to the reasoning of why there's much more Democrats, or that's why there's more Democrat votes being mailed in, also from dead relatives, but I partially kid and digress. And this doesn't bode well for the most confident upcoming election. I don't think, no matter what the result is, there's going to be one side really disappointed or irate, and they're just going to probably, like every election, just going to sue each other over it, like they have ever since, what was it? Al Gore did this way back in the day. He sued because he was upset. Trump sued. They all say it's. Hillary Clinton famously said, "Oh yeah, Trump didn't win the 2016 election." Of course, she wasn't censored and ostracized like people on the other side look a lot were. But yeah, this doesn't bode well. I'm surprised it didn't go as viral as I thought it would on X Twitter. It got about a little under 400,000 views, as well as 2.9 thousand likes. Some of the top comments coming in from Planet Memes, though not in meme form, a little disappointed from them. But nevertheless, this alleged Planet of Memes says, quote, prime example of why mail-in voting should be banned, getting 433 likes. It is also fascinating how most civilized countries have banned mail-in voting, because, again, the number one reason for banning mail-in voting was the high propensity for fraud to occur. Yeah, it's one of the weird things where, wait a minute, only a couple countries allow mail-in voting. That's interesting. Planet Memes also says, quote, looks like they're already setting the programming and narratives for the stolen election, getting 467 likes. American Papa Bear says, quote, oh, USPS will do more than that when it comes to the election and mail-in voting, getting 62 likes, which, yeah, I can't but think, even if it was mail-in voting, how much more confidence would people have if it was a private company like FedEx or UPS getting them there. I mean, how many stories have we heard of people losing mail or just mail delivery drivers just not doing their job throughout the years? Again, some of them are exceptional workers. I'm not saying not doing a blanket statement necessarily, but it's an issue where I can't help but notice. I mean, your cookies may just arrive as breadcrumbs or as crumbs by the time they get to you if you ship it that way. And yeah, when I think of all the issues I've had with shipping and logistics throughout the years, more often than not, the one that has the most issues is always the USPS. Now, you also have Zeno saying, quote, as expected right before the election, Democrats will try nothing to stop at nothing to maintain their power and control. It's not a question of if they will cheat, but how. They did it in 2020. They will do it again in 2024. That got 385 likes. Blaze says they're prepping for a steal. They're going to use USPS delays, quote unquote, to tamper with mail-in ballots. And in transit, don't let them, getting 224 likes. The Evergard by DeCosi says, have they... Oh, never mind. Probably performance. They were talking about a pill there. Adult joke. Real Ben says, LL, I'm already priming the excuses, getting 128 likes. Howling Mutant says, oh, in every state? That's not getting 367 likes, which, yeah, there's issues with literally every state. One would think after the last election, they would have tried, they would have done something to improve. Well, if it's a private sector business, then yeah, that's what you would do logically. But if you have a monopoly, yeah, there's not really much incentive to improve. That's also why there's not a lot of incentive to improve mail in general. Spoiler alert, if you try to mail like a physical letter via FedEx or UPS, you can't. It's a law. It has to go to the USPS, thereby ensuring it will maybe get to this destination and maybe be intact. Maybe. We also have Just Peach Liver saying, quote, this is the mailman. And it's Newman from Seinfeld. He's sweating under the light from the interrogation episode with Kramer. Scroll more and more. Dr. McLaughlin says, here we go again. They did it before. Don't fall for it again. Getting 41 likes. Vance Murphy says, we're so effed, getting 21 likes. Let's see here. Not a lot of contrarian statements here. Not a lot. There's not a lot of people sticking up for the USPS, which I mean, I guess I shouldn't be too surprised in that case. I don't know how many people are actually happy when they have their mail forcibly be delivered by that methodology or that route. And yeah, going to the postal office is like the perfect metaphor for most public entities in terms of, government entities. I'll never forget when I had to go to the post office a couple years ago for a passport. You had a line of 10 people. You had one gal working the cash register, pretty slow. And then you had a guy working another cash register, pretty slow. And then you had a gal standing and literally playing with her fingernails. And on her smartphone, she was standing like 2 feet away from these two employees who were actually doing work at a slow rate, nevertheless. But we were just waiting there. You got a line of 10 people, and 2 employees are working, and there's an open cash register, and the gal's just sitting there doing nothing. And I was bored, so I just walked up to her and I said, hey, could you open this? She goes, I won't do her accent, but she goes, oh no, I'm a supervisor, I can't do that. Which again, any private sector business, they'd be, as Grandpa might say, Johnny on the spot to open up another cash register and facilitate the customer needs. But because they know there's no competition for most of what they do, they realize they can treat you like junk, and they're, of course, unionized, and yeah. So I can't but wonder, again, they've done nothing apparently to fix these concerns, these issues the past 3-4 years. Like, it almost reminds me of Office Space. You just go, what would you say you do around here? Like, where's your quality assurance department? Do you have one? Or do you just take, complaints and throw them in the dustbin, as the British might say? Or the trash bin, as we would actually say. So, again, I'm not sure in terms of, what's actually going to happen on election day, how many people are going to trust the system, and how anything may or may not be proven. But it is interesting, right before, getting close to the election, USPS goes, oh yeah, by the way, we're, some issues. Did you fix it? Well, not really, but there are issues. So, yeah, I guess we shouldn't be too surprised. I guess really the question is, do you think, in terms of, again, there's a current pandemic, though, who knows what might not happen. Maybe tomorrow there will be, who knows. But do you think people will vote overwhelmingly? Will it be very similar to the last election where overwhelmingly, in terms of the breakdown, more and more people on the left side of the political aisle did do the mail-in voting, and more people on the right side did show up physically? Do you think it'll be the same methodology with the political parties telling each other to vote that way as well? Or do you think everyone will go back to in-person voting? Let me know in the comments, because as always, I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have Trump. Well, he said Kamala wants to fund transition for the illegals during the debate, and that is in fact proven to be true. This comes to us thanks to good old libs of TikTok on the X Twitter, and apparently, actually also from CNN. Now she says, quote, even leftists are shocked at how radical Kamala is. She supports tax funding sex changes, surgeries for illegals. Trump correctly called her out. This is about, what is this? A little under 2 minutes long. Here. Probably one of the most controversial things during the debate.
So in 2019, in what K-File found, she said she would cut funding to ICE, writing, quote, our immigrant detention system is out of control, and I believe we must end the unfair incarceration of thousands of individuals, families, and children. I was one of the first senators after President Trump was elected to advocate for a decrease in funding to ICE. Well, now, of course, she's touting the Biden administration's executive order to crack down on the border. K-File's Andrew Kaczynski joins me now. Andrew, that's pretty incredible on its own when you're talking about what you found here on ICE. What else did you find?
Yeah, and this was a questionnaire that she filled out for the ACLU, and this questionnaire is really an interesting snapshot in time of that 2019 Democratic primary. Kamala Harris was trying to get to the left of Bernie Sanders. She was trying to get to the left of Elizabeth Warren, and you really see that in a lot of these answers, and I want to walk our viewers through a little bit of what she said. Let's just take immigration and look at what she said here. She said on immigration, she made this open-ended pledge to end immigrant detention. She said she supported taxpayer-funded gender transition surgeries for detained migrants. She also said she supported
taxpayer-funded gender transition surgeries for detained migrants.
She
actually said she supported that.
She both wrote and answered in the affirmative when she was asked this. Oh. And she said she also supported it for federal prisoners. Now, she also pledged to slash immigration detention by 50%, close all family and private facilities, and decrease funding for ICE, and then the end ICE detainers with local law enforcement.
I mean, these are things that, you know, it would be hard to think that you would come up with taxpayer funding gender transitions for detained migrants, and yet this, as you say, written and verbally.
Even CNN. And though, again, this will probably get Kamala some more votes in San Francisco, but probably not Middle America. Now, moderate value, got about 300,000 views and 4,000 likes. This TikTok says correctly, getting 274 likes. Scrolling down, you have the base electrician saying, quote, it's not just the journey that matters, it's about how many tax-funded gender transition surgeries for the detained migrants you can give out along the way. Kamala Harris, right? It's a parody quote. Parody for now. It got 6 likes. Mr. Bigglesworth's meme says, save the cats by voting Trump. It's a picture of the AI-generated picture of a black cat with a red Trump hat, getting 6 likes. Cash Loren says, quote, once voters realize how radical Kamala is, her campaign is finished, getting 3 likes. Well, perhaps. I mean, there are people on the left and the right who will vote for the candidate of their party, no matter what. No matter what name is by the R or the D in the voting booth, they're gonna vote party line. They don't care. They mindlessly, I would argue brainlessly, just mindlessly follow the party line, which I respect at all. Again, if you can give me 3 specific articulate reasons why you support a candidate, either their past positions or their ideas, I'll at least respect an educated vote. But again, left or right, if you just vote, you know, oh yeah, the party. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. American Papa Bear says, quote, she can't hide from her radical policies, getting 7 likes. You have Proud Patriot US said Trump did a good job. He made her look like the radical Marxist she is, unquote, getting 7 likes as well. Paul Zupa also says, I love how Jamal Bowman hasn't realized what Kamala Harris actually said. What a silly man, no wonder he lost his primary, getting 7 likes. Salty Goat says she can't hide who she is. The people see her and don't want her, period, getting 44 likes. Let's see here. Any contrarian statements? Proud Patriot says Trump won the debate, getting 8 likes. Rob Coates says she flips like a light switch. She doesn't even know what she supports, getting 5 likes. She's changed quite a bit. Codes simply says she has no chance against Trump, getting 3 likes. Let's see. Another AI picture of Trump and a cat, and it says vote Trump 2024, getting 3 likes. Again, that'll probably get her some votes. I'm not saying she won't get any additional votes because of that. Well, at least again, leftists. But again, on average, I don't think your average person, especially when it comes to, again, $35 trillion in debt. I wish they talked about that more during the debate earlier this week. But yeah, they really didn't ask that question. How are you going to fix that deficit issue? But yeah, we have unprecedented government waste and spending. Do you really want that money going in that way? I can't help but think probably not. The average American isn't going to like that. Well, let me know. Do you think this will have any impact at all in terms of the upcoming election, or the votes already locked in, or people are going to vote for her no matter what, or vote for Trump no matter what, and they really don't care how much waste the government spends? Let me know in the comments, because as always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the business blunder of the day, you have BMW recalling about 1.5 million vehicles over brakes, which is heartbreaking because brakes actually do matter, as opposed to BMW has, let's say hypothetically, let's say if they had a recall around, broken taillights or turn signals not working, that probably wouldn't matter because I think those are only used about once every vehicle production is made. When vehicle is manufactured, they test at the factory, but subsequently, I don't think, I take it back. I've seen one BMW use a turn signal in my life. Search a small sample size, but let's just say of all the things on the vehicle, that's probably used the least. Now, this comes to us thanks to DW.com. There you can see the iconic BMW headquarters. And they say, quote, BMW recalls 1.5 million cars over brake issue. German luxury automaker BMW says is recalling the vehicles over a apparent brake problem. Partially as a result, the Bavarian company is lowering its sales and profit expectations. There you can see they're building there. Which, wow, it's even worse than I thought. So they say, quote, they announced a far-ranging recall of all of vehicles, as well as delivery ban on cars that have been not reached to customers yet. The manufacturer also said it is lowering its profit and sales expectations because of the issue, coupled with subdued demand in China. Is, I don't say it's one of Trump's greatest accomplishments, but I can't help but think every time you see the word China, you think of his voice. BMW says the problems with the brake system affect more than 1.5 million cars in total and cause warranty cost in the high three-digit million range of its current quarter. In addition to recalls, deliveries are suspended for 320,000 cars that have not been handed over to clients. The Munich headquartered company said it would effectively lead to a negative sales figure worldwide in the second half of the year. Which, that's awful. Because again, nearly most businesses do great, fiscally speaking, Q4. I mean, there's a reason they call Black Friday, because black on the ledger, that's when you get to profitability. That's why it's being in the red, that's when you're losing money. Again, when it comes, I mean, there's a reason every car manufacturer has those, Christmas sales and, truck November, all that kind of silly stuff. Well, they also have a lot of sales during that time. That's definitely not good. So they say parts supplier Continental, which manufactures the integrated braking system for BMW, said the function of an electronic component may be impaired. That would need to be replaced. However, the supplier added there's no danger of the braking performance falling below legally required standards. Which, still not good for marketing. It's right above the legal line. It's legally okay. Okay. They say that, quote, BMW is stable, which also includes Rolls-Royce and Minis, now is expected a slight decrease in vehicle deliveries that time of year compared to last, having previously predicted a small increase. I can see some of those little Minis right there, which used to be a great stick-shift vehicles until they decided to kill it and go EV and automatic. And they say, quote, exaggerating the impact of the recall and canceled deliveries. Quote, the ongoing muted demand in China is affecting sales volume. Despite stimulus measuring from the government, consumer sentiment remains weak. The automaker also trimmed its profitability guidance, expecting margins of this year of 6 to 7%, down from 8 to 10% previously. BMW shares also fell almost 8% in the immediate aftermath of the profit warning, while shares of the supplier Continental fell by 7%. BMW last month also recalled 1.4 million vehicles in China due to faulty airbags. Ouch. And again, you also have really high, really almost comically high interest rates. And not just for homes, but also for vehicles as well, which is another big disincentive to actually buy one, because again, that's going to jack up your monthly payment by quite a bit. So there's a lot of things that are already hurting the automotive community in general, and this just adds insult to injury. And again, BMW, they are really known, well, they used to be known for great stick-shift vehicles and being, fun business fact, the longest running mantra in the automotive community, an advertisement, was BMW's called the ultimate driving machine. Of course, it breaks my heart that the new head of the performance brand, the M series, well, he says that sports cars, they need to change because they're not fuel efficient and they don't care about three pedals, which shows how clearly rudimentary his mind thought is and how disconnected he is from the consumer. But I partially digress. This is definitely not good news, as they have yet another recall, and it's so bad, it's going to just have those profits just erase. It's already one of the toughest years. I mean, it's natural to have sales dive every 4 years as politics has infected every part of business and all part of our lives. You see the economy usually pulling back a little bit over any presidential election. This time even more so, especially in the United States, because of consumer sentiment and spending. And have an issue where now you actually can't even buy some of these vehicles because of the recall and this issue. Gotta say, BMW, that is certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in. Don't forget to take the time to, of course, like, subscribe, and comment. Also, don't forget to take the time to really just take 1 second to click that like button. I have that theory. When I first started the show, I could barely speak at all. I was more or less terribly inarticulate, but as I slowly but surely gained more and more subscribers, I've slowly but surely become more articulate, feeling my theory that the more people that click that button, the better I'll be able to speak. And someday make it through an entire episode without a single speaking mishap, a tall order some might say, but a goal nevertheless. Also, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone, just stay safe, fight the good fight.